Far in the distance, between the trees and beyond the roofs, there was a narrow glimpse of an absolutely breathtaking mountain.
I love it. I love the tone. I love the softness. Take your time more. Like, you can totally slow it down. The whole point is just to be slow and flowing and rhythmic.
Chris Advansun is working on a brand new story that he hopes will really put people to sleep. That's what he does. Chris is a sleep writer, and he's enlisted actor Pardeep Basi to read his story back to him to see if it works.
Jagged gray draped with powder white, a frontier of earth ascending from the land and disappearing into the fog.
The story is called The Cloud Mountain. Not a lot happens, and that's the point. It's part of a new vein of writing called slow lit, stories that put you under.
The skip of the heart you feel in rare moments when the universe shows a flicker of its fullness. Sierra turned off the ignition, got out of the car and clipped the door shut.
But writing sleep stories isn't easy. It takes work. At this communal workspace in Toronto is where Chris polishes his manuscripts. And I meet him to find out just how a sleep story works.
We all remember being told a bedtime story when we were kids to fall asleep, and that idea is ancient. We picked up on the idea a few years ago to write stories specifically for a grown-up audience. So we kind of think of them as bedtime stories for grown-ups.
What would you say are the keys to a good sleep story?
We avoid anything that's going to jar the attention of the listener and kind of jostle them awake. So it's kind of like, it's a balance. You want to kind of hook the attention of the listener, but I think of it as holding it really gently. And the idea is that the experience is an unwind for them. It's relaxing for them, and it's getting them out of their head and out of their anxious thoughts.
I mean, should it be boring?
I don't think it's quite about being boring specifically. I think it's about not being too exciting.
I mean, what's the goal ultimately of the sleep story?
The goal of the story is to guide the listener to sleep, to really kind of soothe and lull them off to a peaceful sleep.
So is there an ending then? Did they get to the end?
The goal is for the listener to not get to the end, which as a writer of stories is a little strange.
So you put people to sleep for a living?
I put people to sleep for a living, yes. Non-chemically induced sleep. An imaginative journey that is just beautiful and peaceful.
Okay, how about we give it a try? I asked Chris if he were to write a sleep story about himself, how would it go?
I would think about a situation and some kind of simple journey and just have an experience that maybe connects with nature. I think I would set off on a hike to start my own sleep story.
And that is about the level of drama and action in a typical sleep story. And the thing is, Chris started his career as a screenwriter. You know, car chases and explosions.
I certainly didn't set out to write stories to put people to sleep, but have sort of fallen into it, and I adore it.
And he's very good at it, too. Millions of people have downloaded Chris's stories.
After lingering for a long while, Sierra climbed back into her car and continued toward the mountain, hands shuffling and tires.
I get it. By now I should be asleep. So then how does a sleep story end?
In many of the stories, the end of the resolution of the story is that the character falls asleep.
How does the story you're working on today, how does it end?
You'll have to listen to find out, or maybe you won't never find out. I don't know.
I realize Chris and I don't really have much in common. You know, I want people to get to the end of my stories. In fact, I hope you're still with me. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Toronto.